In this episode, we are building a complete landing page in Kajabi. I'm going to show you exactly my process from blank page into actually finalizing the sales page from top to bottom with design that is simple, it's not overwhelming, and I want to show you my thinking process when it comes to how do we highlight the most important things with very simple design tips that you can do with plain Kajabi and no code. So if you're ready, let's jump on it. Let's start with a new landing page. I like to start from scratch without using any template because I don't want to remove all the things that are there that don't match my brand. So what I also do is usually I take a page where my branding is all figured out already in terms of colors and fonts, and I just copy it like I'm doing right now. I have my copy file on hand so I can start copy and paste. And I start from the beginning, the hero section. I've already worked on the mock-up for this product with all the uh, elements that it needs to have. It needs to make people understand that it's a guide that has got a train GPT. There's a 10-day course, and I'm just trying to find the best placement, the best layout for the elements. I need the headline to be the first thing that people read, and the subheadline should be also very clear and visible. And I also want a visual aid for what it is, the product itself. And I noticed when I put my image there is that the background is quite white, and I wanted to have a feeling where it's highlighted. So I know I already have a landing page with a little bit of color, and I want to use those colors as well. And I'm trying the best way to include the mockup in a way that is natural. It feels organic, and it doesn't overtake the headline as well, but it's complementary. So I'm trying with an image background now instead of just an image. By the way, I'm not this fast building pages. This is been it's been sped up by 400%, just in case you're asking. And I'm already struggling with placement because when an image is a background, I like to split it in two so that I know that I can just fill up the text with half the page and never ever overlap with the image. But it really depends on the size of the screen here. So I'm still um, tinkering with the way of placing this image in a different way. Like I'm clearing up the background now because I want the freedom of always have the image where I need it rather than the image screen to dictate where the image is. Before we continue building the page, I want to let you know that if you want to try out Kajabi and find out all of the features that Kajabi can provide to simplify your business, I can give you, with my affiliate link, double the trial time plus some amazing bonuses. So if you're interested and you want to get some perks without you having to pay anything extra, check the link in the description box below. The main concern here is the layout. So I know I want these three elements in place, and I just want to make sure they are well balanced in the quickest way possible. So I started with the image on the side, but now I want to try with the image in the middle. So I'm trying a few things to highlight what I want people to read first, what second, and what third. And this is something that I just do it intuitively. I I recommend you to be detached from the page and really make sure that you look at the page like it's the first time you look at it so that you can judge where the weight, where your eye lands. And what I'm doing right now is that I'm realizing that badge, the 10-day course, is getting all my attention. So I'm thinking, should I remove it? Should I move it around? I don't know. We'll see. At the same time, I'm trying to balance the text as well, which at the moment is not standing out as I want it. I'm reviewing it. And then as you can see, as I'm seeing it right now, that 10-day course badge is is getting all of the attention. This is not too bad though. I think the headline at the top is lost. But I'm already thinking about that this element here needs to change position because it's taking way too much attention. So I'm changing the mockup for a better image. And I still feel that it takes way too much attention. It looks like a button that I want to press. It's definitely better than before. You know, I realize that the headline is way to the top. I need to give it a bit more attention. Still trying to understand how, and using symbols. I decided to remove the 10-day course badge just because it was taking way too much attention away from everything else. There you go. I think it's already kind of okay. As a version 1, that's fine. Let's move on. Let's let's work on the problem section. Again, I'm stealing some colors and fonts from a page they already had just to make sure that the brand is consistent across all my pages. And then I just start copy and pasting the copy that I've designed. And here now I'm just trying to make it readable because when you have to deal with text, if it's too much blocky, it's just a wall of text. It's not inviting for people that just want to skim through the page, that don't have time to read everything like we would, just because it's our baby, it's our landing page. So we always read it all perfectly and carefully, but people just give you a few seconds of attention. So what I want is to make sure that paragraphs are highlighted in a way that even if you stop at a random point, your eye will land on the right words for you to maybe read the whole paragraph, or maybe get a better read of the whole sense of the paragraph without necessarily having to read it all from top to bottom. At the same time, I use Grammarly to fix a few typos, a few sentences that might be said in a better way. That's okay for now. I'll come back to it later. Next section. Here I'm trying to get a headline to the section so that when people scroll, they always have to stop at a new section because there's something new, without having to go crazy with graphic design. You can use like simple Kajabi tools like text background to give it more weight, something that will make people stop the scroll and read what you have to say. I like to give variation to the sections so that even the background gives you a stopping point. So if the previous section was bright, the next section would be on a different color so that it looks like it's new and your brain would want to see what it is all about. Moving on to the next section, and I decide I want to give a bit more texture to these backgrounds, and I'm looking for an image that can work well with that section from another page that I built in the past, just to give a little bit of a tactile feeling to the page. Again, playing with placement for of fonts and headlines just to make it more readable, playing with colors. I want people to land on specific keywords and amplify my message. Same deal here. The different sections of my copy, there are, I feel like they're more mic drop sort of sentences, and I want to give it a highlight somehow so that that would set the tone for the rest of the paragraph if people feel like they want to read it and go deeper with it. Again, looking for a different image for this background as plain white. It's not exactly exciting. And I like to use the squoosh.app to resize my images and save them as WebP images as they become so tiny in terms of file size. And I can use even big images and keep the page extremely light. This is good for SEO. It's good for Google understanding that your page is really light and giving it more visibility if people search for things that this page can explain to people. And I wanted to mention the fact that, as you can see, I'm very brutal on things. I don't linger on things way too long because I want to move forward. The main thing is go with your gut, make it look nice, but don't overthink the design because unless uh, you're all about design, in that case, you should know what you're doing. Like I'm not a designer, and many of my clients are not designers. So what I'm want them to do is to get something that is good enough because good enough works. Overthought, perfection just just stops you. And here I'm looking for an image that I can use for the bit about us, about Alessia and I. And I remember that I had a page with an image already. I can reuse that. Here, the text should be adjusted to be around the image. Again, there's a lot of text here, so I need to find a way to make it more readable, more digestible, less boring. I like to use H4 headlines for specific phrases to put in between paragraphs so that you break down the text block in a way that you can just read the headlines and get a sense of the most important part of it. And then on the block of text again, I'm using bold just for few sentences or for few images, sorry, words, because that's where I want the watcher's eyes to land. Okay, next section. Again, I need a headline, but also I'm not happy on the fact that some headlines are black and some headlines are blue. So I'm for the sake of consistency and visual language as well. Let's unify them, make them all blue. Since we are talking about us, I have a couple of badges for publications that we've had. And I think it's nice to put in there to give a little bit more positioning for people that don't know us, don't know if they can listen to what we say, and just want to make sure that everything we say is legit because we've been published as well in important newspapers, magazines, etc. If you have this type of publications, don't shy away from that. People need to know they can trust you. And of course, you can always lie, but at least you're trying to position yourself as somebody that has actually done something, not like someone that is faking it. If you need to fake toning, don't add anything that is not real. It's only gonna hurt your brand. I'm back and forth with a preview to see how I can split this two white sections in a better way. And that's when I'm thinking maybe I should create a new background that fades into from white to black, because this is where I introduce my offer and I want my offer to stand out from everything else. So we introduced it at the beginning with the nice blue. Now we want to do the same for consistency and also to highlight the offer. The sales page fix. That's my product. That's what I'm selling. Now, ideally, in this section here, you want to be able to insert the title of the product, the mock-up of the product, and all of its features in one single section so that it's like a big recap of what they get if they buy it. It's good because you might have explained the features before or after the section, which we will do as well. But we don't want people to scroll up and down to understand what they're gonna get, because this is what goes on in the mind of the watcher. As soon as they see a call to action that says buy now, they're thinking, yeah, but what's in it for me? What am I getting? So I want this section to fix that problem, make sure they understand exactly what they're getting without having to scroll up and down or having any doubts about it. So that's the challenge. Like, I'm starting with the page with the mock-up on the left and trying to highlight the features of what they're going to get on the side, but it looks a little bit squeezed and out of balance. So again, I'm thinking, let's glorify it more, expand it, make it one on top of the other. Let's not forget the price. And also, I feel like this headline, these features, the 1, 2, 3 features of the program, they're not highlighted probably. So I'm adding some emojis, but also I feel like the headlines are not readable as I want to. In this case, I think I need the version with the 10-day course because it's also one of the features. So the badge is back in there because this section is different. And I'm playing around with the headlines just to give the features way more space for people to understand what they're going to get. That's better. It's a bit taller as a section. I always prefer when the section is on you see it without scrolling, but this is where this works better, so I'm happier with it. Okay, let's move on. Now in here, I want to immediately go deeper into each of the features because I only have one sentence in the glorious offer section. So here I want to go deeper and explain what they can expect for each feature, just in case they scroll down. If they scroll down, it means they haven't bought it. So they need to know what is inside because again, the question, what's in it for me? That's the question that we are answering right now. So since I've created a mock-up with all of the elements of the offer within one image, I'm using the same one and extracting the features one by one so that I can include and have a different image for each of the features where I can explain more what they're going to get, what's included, and what are the benefits of this product. Always have a headline at the beginning of each section because that's, again, the stopping point for people to scroll and really understand what the section is all about. You need to play around with the text a little bit, adding some bold text just to make the eye stop and encouraging people to read more if they find something that it's more interesting for them. This is Photoshop, by the way. I've got a background in visual effects, so Photoshop is my bread and butter. And but Canva is amazing at this stuff too. You don't have to get fancy, you just need to be effective. And since the three sections are going to be basically with the same layout, I'm duplicating one instead of starting from scratch again. I just need more images to represent the right feature now. And again, it's so much easier when you do your copy first because you know how much text is going to be there. You've already thought out the narrative of the page. You don't have to figure it out. I know some people, they jump on the page builder before they have their copy, and that's when you get stuck into overthinking because you don't really know what you're going to be writing in there. So I always recommend doing this in steps and do your copy first in a doc, section by section, and then it's just a game of copy and pasting and making it readable. As I'm doing right now, I'm flying through this page because I know what the page is going to be, is what it needs to say. Again, finding different textures that are in line with my brand a little bit. This is all stuff that I know it's not going to be 100% perfect, but it's got an initial yes. It's a good vibe. It's a feeling that I feel like, yeah, that could work. It might not work in on a long term. Maybe in like a couple of days I will look at this page and not like it as much as now, but at least I got the feeling right. And that can always be improved. The design can always be improved. But I don't want you to stop at perfection because you'll never find it. So I just rather have a page that is good enough, that does its job, that is effective, than just stay there forever, overthinking every button, every color, every image. The FAQs is really simple, simple accordions. I'm gonna write the questions later. For now, for me, it's just a design exercise. And what I like to do with the FAQs is that as soon as I launch my offer in whatever way, I usually get messages or questions via email. And if a question makes sense for me, I can add to the FAQs so that I will never get that question again. Or at least I can tell people, actually, I've already answered that in the page, because I don't like to repeat myself. That's one of the things that I hate. So if I can systematize it or fix it once, I'm happy. And now the last section of the page, the close. In here, I want to also repeat the fact that they're getting a bundle. I want them to see it in a way that it's productized, and I want a very simple text block to sort of get them over the edge to say, this is exactly what you need, and this is the reason why. It could be one sentence, a call to action, and an image. This is just as simple as it is. And here's the final result. I changed the headline on the hero section, so now it's more visible. Everything is nice and simple. I haven't overcomplicated anything. There's no custom coding. I just make sure that the copy that I designed initially is well highlighted and has got stopping points for the watcher's eyes to stop and really appreciate what is the most important part of the page, because I just want to make sure my message is understood and that I've explained what's inside the offer as best as I can. Because again, I want to answer the question of what's in it for me all the time, sometimes even repeating myself and giving all of the important information for people to make a buying decision in their own time without pushing, without persuading. The next step is going to be link up all of those call to actions to an actual offer that has got an order bump and an upsell as well in the way we designed it in the previous episodes. If you haven't watched them, go watch them. There should be a link in the description box below. And as soon as I finish building the end of the funnel, like all the offers and upsells linked up properly, I'm gonna publish it right here.